Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. I rise today in solidarity with our broader international community to reflect on the 35th anniversary of the tragic Chornobyl disaster and to remember those who lost their loved ones and their communities. On April 26, 1986, a city in Ukraine experienced unimaginable disaster. During a routine cleaning, an aging nuclear reactor exploded. Plant employees and emergency workers worked frantically to contain the fire and the radiation, and many sacrificed their lives to stop further exposure to the community. At the time, the world watched, but didn't really comprehend the extent of the damage that exposure to that level of radiation would cause. Nor was it understood how far the radiation would travel, spreading across Ukraine, Belarus, and other parts of Europe. 35 years later, history has confirmed that hundreds of thousands of people were affected by high radiation levels. Some 350,000 people fled from their homes in severely contaminated areas, forced to leave behind all their worldly treasures. Mr. Deputy Speaker, the Chornobyl disaster is etched in Ukraine's consciousness and the global Ukrainian diaspora. It is considered the worst nuclear disaster in history, both in terms of cost and casualties. It was a deeply traumatic and catastrophic event that continues to have an unimaginable, lasting impact on generations of family. While Chernobyl remains frozen in time, we have a moral obligation to never forget this sad time in our history and never ever let history repeat itself. Mr. Deputy Speaker, today we remember those who valiantly sacrificed their lives in the fight to contain the radiation. Remember those who succumbed to radiation sickness, and we remember those who live with the lasting effects of exposure to high levels of radiation. This morning, I was humbled to join Metropolitan Lawrence and Metropolitan Uri, together with Ukrainian-Canadian Congress and Manitoba President Joan Lewandowski, at a quiet, somber service here on the grounds of our Manitoba Legislature to remember this tragic day in Ukrainian history. Mr. Deputy Speaker, it brings comfort to know that on this significant anniversary, people around the globe stand in solidarity with our Ukrainian community. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I ask for leave to request a moment of silence to remember the Chornobyl tragedy and those lives lost during this dark time in Ukrainian history. Thank you and Jack you.